So I came to know the Lord through my 4th grade student, Akila. She came in on the first day of school and she said to me, "Miss DiSanti, this is my God and he wants to know you." And she put a 5x7 picture of Baba on my desk. And this feeling shot through my heart like, wow, this is something special. This is her God and he wants to know me. It was such a personal invitation. So I really felt that as being true. And I met with my families once a month. And her family was from South Africa, but they were Sai Baba devotees. And so I was doing research at the time as a teacher because I had children from all over the world, like 54 different languages. So I was doing research at the time of schools and different areas that served the highest quality education for those in the most dire needs and was meeting them well. And so I wanted to go and see Oprah's Leadership Academy. It had just opened maybe 6 months before this. So I had visited like Jeffrey Canada's Harlem Children's Zone in New York, the 9th Ward in New Orleans. And so I wanted to go and visit Oprah's school because, it was a girls' school in South Africa. Well, at the meeting with my parents, this same student, Akila's mama, stood up and said, "You can go, like we will host you," because that's where my family is from. And I was so taken aback and grateful. And then another one of my parents stood up and said, "And we will pay for you to go. We will pay for everything to be taken care of." So to make a long story short, then I went and her family picked me up and they're Sai Baba devotees. And so before I left, I had a friend who said, "Oh, I know who Sai Baba is. I've heard of him because I've read this book." And it was a book that she gave me to read on the flight over. And it was Phyllis Crystal's book, The Ultimate Experience. By the time I landed in South Africa, Baba was talking to me like I was raised a Christian and I could really feel him. Like my students' invitation to know him had already manifested. Like I really felt like that was me relating to him, and Baba started, talking to me and I was writing it in my diary. So I was very confident in going to South Africa, seeing, Oprah's Leadership Academy, but even more so confident in possibly going to the Sai Center because this is a Sai family, right? And I wasn't really that familiar with the process or anything. And Baba just told me, don't worry, he would take care of things. So I get there. The grandmother is like, I'm meeting the family, her auntie and uncle, and the grandmother. And the grandmother is acting kind of reserved and everything. And I'm like, oh no. Like, I was wondering if she felt uncomfortable with me or whatever. And they said, no, it's not that. We're all worried about you because you're not going to get to go see Oprah's Leadership Academy. And I said, why not? And they said they've been calling the school and they said, you have to have Oprah's permission. And you've come all this way. And I looked at them confidently and I said, no, Baba said he would bless and for me just to be patient and he would make sure it happens. And they were confused because by the time I got on the plane, they knew I was a Christian. I really didn't understand like Sai Baba. So it was really kind of startling to them and they still didn't get it. And they were like, oh, okay, she's still not good. She's going to be so disappointed. So we're going along and I told them, I said, Baba, he's speaking to me. I showed them the book. And then I went to the Sai Center. It was my first experience at a Sai Center was in South Africa. And it was so beautiful. And I noticed how people were sitting on different sides, no distractions and just so sweet and quiet and beautiful. And the music resonated with me. And I just felt at home. Like it just felt comfortable to me. So to make a long story short, we didn't go because Baba said, wait until I tell you. And the uncle, I was going to the Sai Center in between. I was there for almost 3 weeks. The day before I was supposed to go home, Baba said, get up and go. Today's the day. So I got up early and I go outside, and the uncle is like standing up straight and he's looking at me, and I said, today's the day. Baba said, let's go. Still, the grandmother is like, oh, she's going to be so sad. And so I go, and when I go, it's really incredible because the guys outside of the gate, there was like electricity around the fence and everything, and they're just looking at me. And I brought books because each one of my families saved up money, and they all wrote in the front of these biography books for Oprah's kids and everything, because we watched the video of how the school started and they could relate. And some of my kids are from Africa, and it was so special. And so here's this lady outside, like getting these books, and the uncle was helping me too and everything. And they're just kind of looking at me, and they're like the guards at the gate, right? But you have to go through them to get to the school. And I'm, in the meantime, like before I went, I called the school. I introduced myself to them. I told the secretary who I was, and so she knew my intention, my heart. And it's always about love, just connecting and saying, for the love of my children, I want to come here. And they've bought books and they've signed, love letters to the children here, that they've been inspired by them, and it's so special. And so the guards are still looking at me and smiling, and they said, ma'am, you have to have special permission to come in. We can't really let you in. And I hear this squeak come over like the microphone, like, and because I couldn't see through the glass. And it was the secretary, and she said, come on in, Jan. And they were amazed. The guards were like, okay, go ahead, And so they let me in, and they said, for some reason, something happened, where the principal got called away today. So that's the only reason why I'm letting you in. Somebody called her. I'm not sure who it was. And I looked at the uncle. We both were like, Baba, like Baba called. He cleared the way, and that's what he said. Get up and go. You know what I'm saying? So I went through. There was so much love, so much joy. It was just so beautiful. And it's the day before I'm leaving, and just like Baba was already guiding me and leading me in my heart and everything. And it was so special. And like I come home and I tell them what happened. Of course, like the grandmother's crying, and even more so, the auntie is like crying, and I'm like, is everything okay? And she said, yes, wait. And the uncle was like, let's go to the Sai Center, because we had been going, I had been going with the uncle. And they had adopted a baby girl, maybe like 6 months before I came, because they couldn't have kids. And so the mother, all of a sudden, the auntie decided she was going to go with us because of what happened, And when she came out, she was still crying, and she goes, I have to tell you something. I haven't been to the Sai Center. Sorry, it makes me so happy and so grateful. She said, I haven't been to the Sai Center since we got our new adoption, our baby. She said, we had a baby before, and just shortly after we received him, he passed away. And so I've been mad at Baba. I've been upset, and I don't understand why he would give us a child and take the child. But now we have a new child, and so I haven't trusted him, or I haven't had my faith until you came. And the faith that you had in Baba gave me back my faith. And so she goes, I want to go and have the baby blessed by Baba. So the main reason why I was there wasn't so much, yes, it was for my children and my students and to take the book, but the miracle of Baba's love and to be used as an instrument to bring a broken-hearted mother who had lost faith and who was fearful of losing her second child, to bring her back to faith because of my faith in Baba. So that was so huge for me, and my first experience, like that her heart was transformed. So I go home and, just my same student, Akila, like the family was so appreciative and so happy and happy for my class and my students. But my student was like, Miss DiSanti, you visited Oprah's school, you visited the other schools, but you have not visited the one school that is the best in the whole world. You have to go to Baba's school. And so, of course I did. So I signed up, to go to the pilgrimage, and it had to happen really fast. Only he could have made that happen. I was actually very excited because if she said, okay, it's the best school in the world, then it is, I believe it. Because now I've personally experienced him, but I definitely want to experience his school. So I sign up, I get on the pilgrimage. I'm going there. I have no idea what's about to happen or culturally, like I've never been there or anything. I just wanted to visit his schools and to know him. Well, when I get there, everyone's saying, you can't, the same thing I was told about Oprah's Leadership Academy. You can't just go to see his schools. You have to get his permission. Same, right? And I said, why wouldn't he bless me? I'm here to be the best I can be. The best teacher. Why wouldn't God bless me? And they would be saying, oh, we just don't want your heart to be disappointed. You might, And I thought about the grandmother worrying. I said, don't worry. He will not let me down. So the day of the cultural program presentation, we were all in our lines, and they said, don't even try for a minute to get out of line to go up to the front, because everyone has their places, and you have to stay in your line. And I tried several times to try out for a part so I could sit up in front, so I could sit with the singers, because I love to sing too. I thought that would be a big blessing for me too. But every time I made an appointment to do that 3 times, something would happen where I couldn't go to even try to have that. So I gave up, and I just said, okay, not meant to be. So I'm in my line, and they're saying, don't get out of line. This Seva doll comes out of nowhere and grabs my arm. And I thought I was in trouble. I was like, I'm line 7, like number 28. And she goes, no, Jan, you're going to the front. And the moment she said that, I heard Baba's voice say, I'm going to bless you. I mean, our Lord is so amazing. She takes me up to the front. She sits me down. Of course, everybody saw it was this Seva doll, not me, so I didn't get in trouble, Baba comes around, and he tells me to sit up. He does his hand like that. And I sit up, and he puts his hand on my head, and he says, I bless you with a school. I'm a school teacher. And I said, what should we call our school, Baba? And he said, Paro. It means to study or to learn. And he said, get trained in the human values. And he said, yes, Bangaro, you can visit my schools. I didn't ask him. He just told me all of that. I mean, the Lord of the whole universe already knew. But my faith, my full faith in him from the beginning was a love affair I've never known. And 6 months later, like after I visited his school, I was in awe. And even like by the time I got there, I told him who I was. He already knew. He was expecting me, the principal, the person who was in charge. And he said, yes, I know. So Baba had already let him know It was so incredible. Like the respect, the connection, the joy of learning these children had. And I could see why the quality of engagement and the outcome, it was so inspiring. So I was so excited. I went home and I signed up right away for SSE classes and to get trained. Baba also had given me Hyman Johnson's name, who had just been named the first director of the Institute of Sathya Sai Education in USA. And so I was looking for him and I couldn't find him. So for some reason I couldn't find him. So I just signed up for SSE and to get trained. And then I went to Arizona and did that. And that was so powerful. And then I also, like maybe a month later, I got a phone call from Hyman Johnson. He called me. And so you don't even have to go looking. When it's meant for you, when you're on purpose, when you're in his mission, it happens, right? And so that was happening too. So I was signed up in a few months to go and get my training with Hyman Johnson. Well, it was, and this was the pilgrimage 2010, like the last one before Baba's ascension in 2011. So how blessed am I? I barely made it, but I made it, to be blessed by him and his mission. But being a Christian, I love Christmas so much. I lost my parents, when I was young, maybe 23. They both had passed away. And so I have siblings, but they all were with their families. They were with someone else, and I was alone. And it was Christmas Eve that same year, 2010. And so I just cried myself to sleep, and I said, I'm just going to die alone with a broken heart. Because I was so sad. On holiday, Christmas, one of my favorite holidays. And I was alone. And I woke up maybe 5 hours later on Christmas morning, like at 2 or so. And my left arm was really going numb and feeling heavy, and my heart started shutting down and I couldn't breathe. And it was so heavy, I couldn't even crawl across the bed to get to my phone and dial 911. So I died and I went out of my body. I was on the ceiling looking down on my body. And Baba came in the room. And he's next to me and he's looking down on my body too. And he said, "What did you do?" I said, "What do you mean, Baba? I didn't do anything. I couldn't breathe. And so I just went out." And he said, "No. What did you say?" And I had to think for a minute, and I looked at him and I said, "I'm just going to die alone with a broken heart." And he said, "Yes, your words are powerful. You are powerful. You are God. You did that. It is not your time." And he reached down and he took my heart out of my chest and he put it up to the light, and I saw all these black spots. And he said, "You see all that? That's the pain of your past." And he put my heart in his hands and he blew on it like this. And he said, "Now look." And my heart was like beating, and the veins, and all you could see was light through it. Like light was shining and beaming through it. And it was vibrant. And he said, "See, gone. The past is in the past. The present is now in the omnipresent." And he said, "The future is in the future." And he said, "You have a lot of work to do." So he put my heart back in my chest. He slapped my chest and he said, "Now get to work." And my spirit flew back into my body. I woke up and I was in so much pain. I don't even know how long it took me to get to the phone, but I finally did and called 911. And I said, "Please come. I died and God brought me back. I was trying to explain. I was very emotional, but they came. They had to knock my door down because everything was locked. And I just remember getting in the ambulance and saying, God did this for me, because they were saying, now what happened? You had a heart attack and everything. And I said, yes, and he brought me back. God did that for me. And they were like, just telling me it's okay. They were comforting me. I know that was Baba too. He put the perfect people around me. And I get to the hospital, they're running all the tests on me, and they could find nothing. And I was throwing up, as like I was like rejecting like the drugs, everything, because my heart had just been purified on such a level, like it even still makes me shake to think of it. I still don't have all the feeling back in this first finger on my thumb. I think it's a reminder, like when I touch it, what he did for me. He saved me. And I told the doctors the story, and they were having a hard time believing me, because some people, like don't really maybe believe in those things. And so all they could say was, all we can come up with, because your heart is so healthy, everything looks good. And I said, yeah, because he did that. He cleared it for me. And they said, you had an anxiety attack mimicking a heart attack. That's all we can think about, because of what you said. So I went home. They said, you're going to have 6 months of therapy, physical therapy, because I couldn't move my arm and it was very numb. I had nerve damage, really bad. And so I call a taxi because there was no one. And I tell the taxi driver, please don't mind me. I just had a heart attack and near-death experience. And so I have to talk to God. And so he was so sweet too. And I know that was Baba. He said, don't worry, don't worry. And so I just said, Baba, you have to show me that was you. I've been hurt and frightened, and I have to know that was you. You have to give me a sign. And please show me. I'm afraid. And so I get home, and this taxi driver is so sweet. He helps me in the house. My door was still broken down and everything. And it was so special, so I got in. Then I went up the stairs really slowly to my prayer room. And I just went to my knees and thanked him for saving me and for loving me, for being such a loving God. And I opened my eyes, and on my chair, on his chair, was a gold heart necklace that when I held it up to the light, you could see through it. It looked exactly like my heart that he healed, and that he brought back, like he took all the karmas, all the bad. And he did that for me. And I couldn't believe it, because I begged him. I said, please show me that was you. And that's what he did. And so I called the family, of my student. And I told them what happened and everything. And they were just so grateful to Baba. He saved me. And he told me, I have work to do. I'm sorry for crying, but it's important for me to share. So I told the family, and they organized. Thank you. They organized the bhajans to thank Baba, and the grandparents and everything came. They were so grateful. And I was so grateful. So there were bhajans at my house, to thank Baba. And there was even the president from Manhattan Sci Center flew in. because he had heard my story of what Baba did. He wanted to be there. So they all were there, and there were people from the Sai Center where I live in Denver. And they all came, and we were so grateful. And we did bhajans and everything, and we were so happy. And like, I was wearing the heart necklace, and the grandfather looks at me and he says, never take that off. You know, that's your blessing. It's your protection from Baba. You know, that's like his presence for you. And I said, yes, yes. And so we got in a line and we took a picture. And this picture that was taken had a huge bar of light starting at my necklace that was manifested, going across my heart and across the grandfather's face. Like this big, this wide. I still have that picture too, but it took our breath away. It was another miracle of his presence. You see what I'm saying? So whenever we are grateful, we sing his glory, we give him all the praise. That's what he does. So I started school the next Monday. This was Saturday. I was so grateful. That was just another miracle. So I'm like feeling my necklace and everything and just trying to be thankful for him. And by noon, I went to reach it, to touch it, and it was gone. So as you can imagine, I was distraught. So I told my students, please look all around the room. They saw it too, because, you know, like Akila, of course, came running in and said, look at her necklace. It's so beautiful, you know. So it was very special. And it was off my neck. And so I panicked, you know, like I told the principal, please send a letter out to my school. She let me go home for lunch so I could look for it. I could find it nowhere. You know, I called Akila's dad and I said, I lost my necklace. It's gone. What does that mean? Is Baba mad at me? Did I do something wrong? You know, like, and he said, Jan, of all people in the whole world, you should know Baba is with you. He brought you back. He gave you the necklace. You know, he took the picture of the light. Please just trust him. These things happen. But Baba is not the necklace. He is with you. And so I thought, oh, okay. You know, that's right. So I was going to my Bible study that night and I was just so happy. So the women in my Bible study group, they prayed with me and they just, you know, I just said, I'm so happy, I'm so happy. So afterwards, I was so grateful and I was just thanking Baba and I'm singing and praising him. And I stopped at Village Inn to get a piece of pie because on Wednesday nights, you get a free piece of pie. And I go in and the manager knows me there. And the manager says, oh, Jen, what are you having today? You look extra happy. And I said, I'm so extra happy. I just know the Lord loves me and he's with me and he's, you know, he's guiding me and I just feel extra blessed. So I picked out the strawberry rhubarb pie and he was so happy for me too because he knew, you know, he knew me by heart by then because every Wednesday I stopped. I go outside. I go to my car. On the hood of my car is my necklace. Our Lord, Baba, re-manifested my heart necklace on the hood of my car. I fell to my knees. I was in awe. I called the family. I didn't touch it, you know, like I was just crying and saying, thank you, Baba. And I was looking close and I could see the clasp had broke. That's why it had fallen off my neck. But the whole thing is he didn't let me find it. He didn't let me find it where it was because he wanted me to know he did that. He put it on the hood of my car. He loved me so much He gave it back to me because He blesses us with these things. Because of our love for Him and because He knows it helps us to keep our faith and to believe. But there's also another special thing. He gave it back to me the moment I didn't need it. The moment I said, I know You love me. It's You that protects me, not the necklace. The moment I did that, He brought it back to me and I was praising Him. I was praising Him. And the family comes because I called them. I was crying with gratitude and I didn't want to take it off my car until they got there. My student, the grandparents, the parents, everyone was there and they were all crying with happiness and so grateful. You know, the miracle of God, miracle of His love. And even when we do and say things that don't serve us, until our last breath, He will have us do His mission. He will have us live on purpose for Him till our last breath. And He will reveal His love. He will reveal His presence. So never, never give up. Never stop thinking He's gone or He doesn't care, no matter how hard life gets, no matter what things are showing you on the outside. No matter what, He will never desert us. He's alive in our hearts. And I'm a living testimony. Again and again and again, look what He did. He's the Lord of love, like He says in the Gita, the Lord of love. And those who are near and dear to Him, in chapter 12 it says, are those who seek Him wholeheartedly in love and faith. That's who He loves the most. That is my everlasting breath to the very end. As one who is near and dear to Him, who will seek Him in love and faith till my last breath. Sai Ram.